Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm a student parent fellow with the Spark Collaborative. Through Spark, I'm part of a team of researchers that build evidence and take action to support pregnant and parenting students. We just released a series of briefs on student parents using new data, and one of our guiding principles is knowledge sharing. In support of that goal, and in the spirit of data access and data democracy for all, today I'm going to show you how to use that data yourself. The goal of this video is to share a data resource from the Department of Education and teach you how to use it to analyze data on student parents. Now, if that sounds intimidating, I get it. I was in your shoes just a couple of months ago, but now I'm leading a training for you, so you can do this too. The data we use for our briefs and infographics come from the National Center for Education Statistics, or NCES, from a periodic study called the National Post-Secondary Student Aid Study, or NPSIS. We used the PowerStats tool, which is a user-friendly interface that facilitates public access to NCES data. Anyone looking to learn more about student experiences and outcomes through public data can use this tool to review NCES data sets. The NPSIS provides a particularly useful data set for learning about student parents. Anyone may create a free DataLab account to access the NCES PowerStats tool. In this video, we will show you how to pull data on student parents and refer to a graph from one of our briefs as an example of how the NCES PowerStats tool allowed us to pull the data tables used to make that graph. In this example, we'll explore the type of undergraduate institution attended by students without dependent children, as compared to students with dependent children. In other words, our team's question was, where do student parents go to school? Is it at community colleges, four-year private colleges, or somewhere else? And how does their enrollment at these institutions compare to the enrollment of students without children? Step 1. Let's head to PowerStats. To do this, navigate to nces.ed.gov/datalab/. Scroll down to the National Post-Secondary Student Aid Study. Pro tip, if you find yourself using the same data sets frequently, you can add them to your favorites, as you see with the starred data sets in this screenshot. There are a couple of NPSIS options here. One allows you to look at graduate student data, one to look at undergraduate student data, and one is called the administrative collection. The administrative collection is based on data collected from school records, like FAFSA applications. The undergraduate and graduate options are based on both school records and a survey sent to students, so we typically work with those versions of the dataset. To answer the question we posed for this training, we're going to focus on undergraduates, and we want both the student survey outcomes and administrative information, so we're going to choose NPSIS UG. When you choose your dataset, be mindful that you are selecting the correct year for the study you want to review. As of the recording of this tutorial, the most recent data are from 2020. Also note, at this point in your process, you will have to log into DataLab if you hadn't already done so. Step 2. Once you're logged into DataLab, the next step is to select an analysis type. In this example, we will use percentage distribution. This is handy when you want to see what percentage of a group has a specific characteristic. Here we're looking at what percentage of student parents go to different types of schools. We also used the averages, medians, and percents analysis type in other parts of our briefs. Those options can be helpful, for example, when you want to know the average GPA for a group of students. Step 3. Once we've selected our analysis type, we need to find and choose variables. Variables can be browsed and chosen using the drop-down menu under Choose Variables. Variables are divided into categories such as parents and family, education program, financial aid, and many others. For this table, we will search for variables that contain data showing whether students have dependent children and what type of institutions students attended. Variables can be searched by a keyword description of the variable, like dependent child, or by the variable name, such as Sector 11. If you are searching using a variable name, be sure to spell the name correctly and be mindful of spaces to find the right variable. Throughout our publications, we included the variable names used to retrieve the data supporting each figure. They are listed underneath each figure in notes. Step 4. Once you've identified the variables you want to look at, you'll need to pull them into your analysis. You can drag variables into the column and rows boxes to add them to your table. When you drop a variable into a required column or optional row, filter, or subtable, a variable box will pop up on your screen. You can review descriptive statistics for the variable and see more information about the variable using this pop-up box. The Power Stats tool will ask you to confirm the way the data from the variable will be displayed in the resulting table. If you would like to use the variable as recommended, click Save in the pop-up box. The pop-up box also allows you to customize the categories in which the data will be displayed. If you were interested, for example, in how many student parents attend 2-year schools versus 4-year schools, you could combine school types together to create custom categories. As you're working with the variables, a sample table will be set up on the primary screen. This will show you exactly how the table you're creating will look and can help you make sure you're running the analysis you want. Step 5. Once you're satisfied with your variables and analysis layout, you can run your results. In this example, we are exploring the type of undergraduate institution attended by students without dependent children as compared to students with dependent children. We drag the institution sector variable, sector 11, into the column box, and we drag the dependent children variable, DEP child, into the rows box. Then we click Run to generate the table. The tool may take a few moments to process the data. Step 6. Now you will have the opportunity to view your table. Your table will display a statistical analysis of the variables you have selected in the analysis type format you chose in Step 2. At the top of the table, you'll see the overall percentage distribution for all students. Then you'll see a breakdown for each group that you selected. In our example table, the overall percentage distribution by institution type, sector 11, is seen at the top of the table, followed by the percentage distribution for each institution type by dependent children status, DEP child. For the tables with many columns like the one below, you may need to scroll to the right to see the full table. Tables can also be downloaded in a variety of file types, including Excel, PDF, or CSV. These downloads will have additional information beyond what you see on your screen. For example, you can see the number of students who fall into each category of the groups within the downloaded table. Important note: understand variable definitions and the limitations of your table. Make sure you pay attention to what your table does and does not show. In this example, the table shows the percentage of students with dependent children at each institution type and the percent of students without dependent children at each institution type. So, for example, we see here that 0.4% of all undergraduate students attend public less than 2-year schools. Moving one column to the right, we see that 32.9% of all undergraduate students attend public 2-year schools. And then if we look further down in our table, we can see that 31.1% of undergraduate students without children attend public 2-year schools, compared to 40.9% of undergraduate students with dependent children. We can check that our interpretation of the table is correct by looking at the totals column. Each row adds up to 100%. You may have to scroll to the right to see that total. That confirms for us that this is a group that is being divided into each type of institution. So among student parents, 40.9% attend public 2-year schools. This table does not show the percent of students at each institution type who have dependents. To make that table, you'd have to switch your rows and columns and then check again to make sure your groups are adding up to 100% as you expect. Whether you use the results to tell a story in writing, in a data visual, or even to reference the outcome in a presentation, reviewing the variables you have selected and the choices you have made about how they are organized in your table is critical to ensuring the accuracy of the story you tell. We've just walked through the basics of pulling descriptive information from Power Stats. If you want to get a little more advanced, you can check whether differences between groups are statistically significant. If you want to dive deeper to understand whether your outcomes have statistical meaning, you can use PowerStats tools to check the statistical significance of your estimates. PowerStats allows users to view standard errors and confidence intervals for each table and features a t-test tool. These statistical features are important to determining the accuracy and significance of the estimates displayed in the table and allow you to make comparisons between groups. In our table, we wanted to see if student parents were more likely to attend some types of schools than students without dependent children. Our results suggested that there may be noticeable differences between enrollment patterns for student parents and students without dependent children. Using the t-test and p-test value tool allows us to determine whether the observed differences between our selected variables are strong enough that they are likely showing a real-world difference, or whether they are likely attributed to chance. We hope this primer on DataLab and PowerStats tools empowers you to use these robust data sources to answer your own questions. And if you ever need help with the tools, you can always reach out to the DataLab help desk at nces.info@rti.org. We encourage you to explore the PowerStats tool and hope that you enjoy learning more about student parents through data.